Hey guys, welcome to our SoulFam Podcast, where I interview space holders from all over the world. I'm your host. My name is Karolina, and I am the Connection Catalyst. I help spiritual entrepreneurs experience deeper connection with themselves, with others, and with the universe. Today on the show, we have Alejandra Brady, the best-selling author and the Feng Shui Expert. Welcome to the show, Alejandra. How are you doing?
Hello, I am great. How are you, Karolina?
I am doing really, really good because we're going to talk about Feng Shui, actually. Feng Shui, not Feng Shui, right?
Yes,
That's how I say
you're
Feng
good.
Shui.
Either way, it's all good either way. All
Well,
means the same thing.
in Poland, we say Feng Shui, and I'm just so excited to talk to you about it because the only really situation in my life that I had an encounter with this term even was when my dad told me that once a Feng Shui expert came to his house and he said that his money is in front of his house rather than inside of his house, and how can he even live
Oh,
there, and so on. And I didn't
oh,
really know what was happening there. I didn't really understand, but he was really like, emotional about it in terms of like, oh, we need to move
wow.
houses, and then he actually did.
Oh my,
But
oh
it
my
was
God.
quite a long time ago. I don't know, maybe like 15 years or so. So it was the only
Wow.
encounter that I had. And of course, I know more or less what it is. And maybe I even have
Sure.
one book at home about it. But generally, like it's such a, I think it's very, very old, let's say, area or something that you can know, and you can really set up your life in a way that it helps you, right? Because the
Yes.
energy in the place moves, and Feng Shui, from what I understand, is about how to place objects, how to move things around at your home so that the energy can flow better. So I'm so excited to talk to you about it today because it's a very interesting topic for me. But I would love
Oh,
to
good.
start with a little bit of your journey, and if you could share, how did you come to write books and just become a Feng Shui expert? Like, how did you start this spiritual journey that you're on?
So thank you, first of all. And yes, we'll talk about feng shui and we'll talk about some easy things that your listeners can take with them and do in their home. Just some really easy solutions that'll help. There's a lot more to feng shui than moving things around your home, but we'll do that in a little bit. So my journey, when I turned 50, I suddenly needed to have a very severe fusion that I did not know that I needed. It was out of the blue that I suddenly needed a very serious surgery. They were going to put a plate in my neck with 6 screws. And this is after, and I never had a car accident or anything. I had scoliosis as a child, which means that your vertebrae are crooked. So I wore back brace for a long time. Then I'd already had 1 surgery in my lower back, then a 2nd surgery in my lower back. So this was going to be my 3rd very serious surgery in about 4 years. So a friend of mine, because I am an interior designer and I've been doing that for years, many years, almost 20 years at this point, whose home I had done, said that she read about this lady, and this lady would come to our house and she wouldn't charge us travel time because she was quite expensive just to come to your home, if we both hired her on the same day to do a feng shui consultation. And I'm like, okay, so what is that? And she goes, it's good energy, what you were saying. I'm like, anything, since I'm going to be recovering in my bedroom, with a neck brace on, unable to move for 6 to 8 weeks, anything I thought that would make my house feel better and be more comfortable. So I told my husband, and we've been married 32 years at this point, but this was maybe like 27 back then, that I was hiring this person. She came to my house. I was writing notes, listening to everything she was saying and writing like a crazy person. And about 10 minutes into the conversation, she said, she just stopped and she looked at me and she said, "You're going to be doing this." And I really, truly remember thinking, TikTok lady, you're super expensive. Just keep telling me what to do. No, I'm not going to be doing this. I have no interest in doing this. Just tell me what I need to do in my house. So anyway, needless to say, she left. I made the changes that she suggested. My husband felt the changes immediately within a month when I started making changes. And I went 1 room at a time. And I was getting ready for the surgery, so I could only do so much. And about a month in, he said, "What room do you want to do next?" Because he noticed the shift in energy so much. I'm like, "Really? You want to do another one?" So I was my own guinea pig. I did my entire house. It changed the trajectory of our lives. Having that space cleared, having great energy coming into my house, and just feeling the good vibes all the time led me to want to try different things. All of a sudden, I was interested in meditation. I'd never been interested in meditation. So I started meditating. Just took a little online course to help me learn how, because I didn't know how. In the middle of a meditation, I got told, literally told, you're going to write a book. And just like I said to the Feng Shui lady, I said, no, thank you. Not interested. Keep going. You know, and, you know, it kept coming back and coming back and coming back. And I was like, I really don't want to do this. I have no interest in being famous. I have no interest in writing a book. I'm not an author. And it just wouldn't stop, you know, because when you're in meditation and you're asking, what is my next step? And then you get told what your next step is and you say, no, you know, they keep coming back to you. So finally I said, okay, fine. I'm tired of hearing this message. Okay, fine. But you're going to have to tell me what to do every step of the way. I have no idea what I'm doing here. I have no idea why I'm doing this. So while I started just journaling things, the messages and the downloads that I was getting was to just kind of journal what was happening to me. And what was happening to me was that a lot of things were changing because of this Feng Shui, you know? So I did the Feng Shui on my house, the energy changed. I recovered. It was so dramatic as far as a shift that I told my husband, you know, I think she's right. I think I have to do this. And he goes, yeah, you do. And so I called her back and I said, hey, remember me? Who told you no? Would you take me on as a student? And I did not know at that point in time. Her name is Karen Rock Carter. And I always am so grateful to her. And I always mention her when people ask me about my journey, because my journey became my journey because of her. She is a world-renowned author. Her book is published in 9 different languages. I believe Polish is one of them. Her book is Move Your Stuff, Change Your Life. And I didn't know any of this at the time. She and I just connected. I followed my gut. I asked if I could be her student, and I shut down my design business and studied under her until I got my certification, which was about a year-long certification. Did everything I needed to. And then I reopened my business, but with a completely different intention. I will not work on someone's design unless I do the Feng Shui energy work first. Because in Feng Shui, I think as in life, even ourselves, right? You can look beautiful on the outside and feel horrible on the inside and just be really sick on the inside. Your house can be really sick and you can put all the pretty things that you want in it. But if the energy isn't right, you're still going to absorb your home's energy. Doesn't matter how pretty it looks. So that was what Feng Shui changed for me. When people started walking into my home, and my homes have always been beautiful because this is what I do for a living, right? So when people started walking in and going, it feels so good in here. That is to me the highest compliment that I can get. Not it looks beautiful, but it feels beautiful. Oh, I just want to stay in your house. I don't want to leave because it feels so good. It feels like I'm getting hugged. That is what Feng Shui can do for your space, you know? And so then again, continuing my Feng Shui journey, then meditation led to, well, let's go try energy healing work. Let's go try this. Let's go try that. So it has taken me down a spiritual journey. I just turned 55 on Wednesday. So it's taken me a week ago today. So it's taken me down the most beautiful spiritual journey in the last 5 years, because Feng Shui for me was what opened the door, and I allowed it in. And so at the end of all that, I have a best-selling book. I just can't make this shit up. Look how thick that is. So they gave me lots to write about. And I'm also the creator of the What Should I Feng Shui Today card deck. So channeled in 2.5 weeks, just came to me. And
wow.
that is what my purpose is. I'm here to share my story with the world. I'm here to help people who want to make energetic changes in their homes do it in a very simple way, without it feeling mysterious or magical or anything like that. And if you want, I can transition right into what Feng Shui is. I don't know.
I would like to say, I would like to say one thing. First of all, guys,
yes.
To those who just listen and don't see, I can tell you that Alejandra looks maximum 40 years old, max. Like, come on. So this feng shui stuff needs to work. I can see it. I can feel it. It's like, your energy is just so vibrant, so youthful, so you're just so full of energy, and you just look so beautiful. So it has to work, guys. So that's first of all I want to say. But wow,
you're so sweet.
It's so crazy how your soul just guides you, or whatever, your guides or your angels or whoever, God, whoever you want to call, higher power just guides you to something that you're meant to do.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
you are there for a reason. I mean, if you did interior design and feng shui, it's kind of like interconnected. You can do both,
Absolutely.
right? That's so
Oh
crazy
yeah.
how we get these downloads that are meant for us specifically. Like, maybe someone who does something else, like power engineering, like I'm a power engineer, but I don't do it. But
Oh wow.
someone who does power engineering wouldn't get a download probably, or maybe not as often, to do just feng shui randomly, right? Because you can just absorb it and then put it in whatever you already do, and then make it even better, make it more from like a spiritual standpoint in a way, rather than only beauty, only design, only what you
Right.
study or what you learn. But it's just such a beautiful, inspiring story, and it's so great that you channeled it all so quickly. It's so amazing. I love this story. Thank you so much for
It's
sharing.
You're so welcome. Well, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that we all have a gift, and we're all here to serve a purpose for the world in one way or another. If everybody was doing the same thing, it'd be really boring and we wouldn't learn anything new. So we all have different gifts. The biggest difference is whether or not you're ready to listen to what they are, right? And in order to listen to what they are, you have to create a little energy bubble for yourself. You have to take the time to be still. You have to listen when they give you guidance and stop saying no thank you. So now that the difference between the book, which took 4 years, and the deck, which took 2.5 weeks to write it, obviously not to create it and get to the finished product, but was that by the time the deck came along, I was like, okay, fine, what do you want me to do? And I just started writing instead of not listening or arguing back, which I argued back when she told me you're going to be doing this. And, I argued back when I got told I was going to be writing a book. I don't argue anymore. If I get a message to do something, I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is going to take me, but okay, we'll do it. I got told to buy a house in Sedona, which is a very sacred place here in the United States. My poor husband, I love him dearly. I'm like, I need a house in Sedona. She goes, all right. So we went for the weekend, we bought a house. I wrote the book during the pandemic the entire time we were there. As soon as the book was done, I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to leave. I want to go back to Tampa. Okay. We sold a house, made a ton of money. So, feng shui and energy in general, not just feng shui, but, your spiritual guides and everything else when you're on a spiritual journey and you're truly there with good intentions in my opinion, will reward you for listening and following the guidance and take you to that next step. So even though it was a very big leap of faith to go and buy a second home, when I was ready to sell it and we sold it, we made more than double what we bought it for. So we were gifted that back for listening and for all the time I took off of work to write the book. And, that's all time and money and energy and everything spent. I mean, it costs a lot of not just time, but energy and money to put together a book and to hire the right editors and the right cover people. It's not just like, here it is. It doesn't just appear. So I feel very strongly that if you follow the signs and you follow your guidance, you're going to do what you're meant to do. And I would never have thought that this is what I was meant to do, but here I am.
Yeah, I
Never
can totally,
in a million years.
I can totally relate to what you're saying, because I had a similar situation where in meditation it came to me that I need to translate one book to Polish, and I was like, I'm not even a translator, but I did. It's the book is called Love Money, Money Loves You, and it's a channeled book how money just speaks to us, and I just love this book so dearly. And once in meditation it came to me, and so I know exactly what you mean by it's not that easy to even to translate the book and then to publish it and then to do all these things. It takes a long time, takes a lot of energy, but I just trust that, this is going to raise the consciousness of my country. Right. So I actually really know that it's the right thing to do, but I can totally relate to everything that you're saying. And that's why I would love to talk about this book. I just can't make this shit up. I would love to know, what could people expect when they buy it? Just at least briefly, to give a little spark of what we can expect.
So I talked a little bit about it. It is about my spiritual journey. And it is about everything from my upbringing, because I have been able to see people, it is one of my gifts, who have passed since I was a child, but I never understood what that was, So as my spiritual journey unfolded, as I started meditating, as I started working with healers from all over the world, I put the pieces of the puzzle together. And it's like, oh, this is what's been happening to me for the last 50 plus years. I'm not crazy, And so my hope for this book is, and I do feel that there are a lot of people waking up right now. The consciousness is just really lifting and elevating. And there's more and more people. And what I have found with this book, because I just can't make this shit up, literally. I mean, when you read the stories, it's like if somebody asked me to write a movie, I couldn't write what has happened to me. People would think this can't be real, but that's why it had to be called that. I went through all the pretty titles, like How I Healed from Within and all that stuff. And in the end, I'm like, no, I just can't make this shit up. I can't. So that's the title, and it is what it is. And people can relate to it. And so I get, messages from all over the world as to how this book has touched people's lives and how they're like, yes, my friends and family thought I was crazy because I was telling them that I was getting messages and I was getting downloads. And that's who this book is for. This is not for, the Dalai Lama who already understands all this. This book is for those of us who are going through this awakening and feel alone and feel isolated, and whose friends and family may think that you're crazy, because you're talking about these things, and they're like, I don't know, who are you? My poor husband, like I said, we've been married for 32 years. For 27 years, I was one person, even though these things were happening. So he knew along the line when I was having these experiences, because I'd wake up in the middle of the night and be like, oh my God, who's in the room? So he knew that something, but none of us pieced it together. But he didn't know to the extent, because I was even afraid to talk to him about it, and my son has my gifts. Our son is 27 and he has my gifts. It is a bloodline gift. And he knows it. And he's had experiences, and he says, I'm just not completely ready to embrace it yet. And that's okay too. That's completely fine if you're not ready. But I want this book to be for the people who just feel alone and feel like nobody understands what they're saying. There's nobody else out there like them. They have no one to talk to. If you start talking about it, and when I finally just let down my guard and started talking about it, and my husband said, be very careful who you talk to. You have to be careful. People are going to think crazy things of you. And he was obviously looking out for my best interests. He adores me, and he didn't want people to say bad things about me. When I finally said, you know what? No, I'm going to talk about it because this is who I am and this is what's happening to me. The second I really started talking about it, oh my God, the feedback was crazy. Oh my God, this happened to me. Oh my God, this happened to me. And so many people came out of the woodwork saying that they'd had experiences too, and were always afraid to share them for fear that people would ridicule them or call them a witch or call them from the devil, which I've been called. I've been called all of it. It doesn't, and it,
Me too.
it is what it is.
Me
Yeah.
too. Don't worry.
It's like,
my grandma said that I'm
witch.
possessed. Like my grandma thought I'm possessed by demons just because I was talking about spirituality. So it's classic.
Yep. It's in the book. My biological family found me as an adult because I shared with you off the air that I was adopted as an infant. So my biological family actually found me. I wasn't looking. They found me. And when I talked to them about spirituality, they took out a piece of paper and they handed it to me. And it said that everything I told them that I had been talking about, I was of the devil. And I'm like, thank you.
Oh
biological mother and her husband. Yes.
Thank
and
you.
I have
After
the piece of paper.
So many years afterwards, and now you tell me that I'm.
Yes. And I kept the piece. I kept the piece of paper as a reminder. You know what I mean? It's like I still have that. It's in my journal, and I'm like, okay. And you know what? Everyone can think what they want. I am very respectful of everyone's beliefs. I just expect people to be respectful of mine. And I don't care anymore either. It's like I'm going to be who I'm going to be, and I'm going to attract the people that I'm meant to. And the rest will be on their own journeys. And that's fine. And that's totally fine.
Perfect. And that's perfect.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you completely, because in my case, it was exactly the same story, especially after I came. Yeah, it is. Especially after I came after 3 weeks of not eating, and I came home and I was like, hi, I haven't eaten for 3 weeks and now I don't really intend to. So,
wow.
it's been crazy in my case as well, because of course my family was worried and so on. But, when I did it the second time, I was like, Mom, I'm going to not eat again for like 3 weeks. And she was like, yeah, okay, have fun, good luck and whatever. So, you just sometimes need need to go through stuff once so that
Right.
people see, okay, she's actually all right, nothing is happening. And then because it's just fear-based, right? People judge you because they are
All
afraid of
fear-based.
something new,
Yes.
something unknown, something that will, I don't know, shake their beliefs. So of course, if you're just coming and telling them something that they have never known before, then they're going to be defensive about their own
Right.
beliefs. But sometimes it's
Right.
just okay, and we need to accept it. But I would love to talk a little bit about the Feng Shui, at least the
Sure.
basics, so that people know,
Sure.
first of all, what it is, because you said that it's not about only moving things in your
Not at
home.
all.
It's more about probably the energy and so on. So I would love you to talk a little bit about it, and maybe a few tips as well, what people could
Absolutely.
do, just like some basics, so that we can make our living situation even better and the energy in our home
Perfect.
even better.
Perfect. Okay. So a very simple definition of Feng Shui. Feng Shui is not new. Actually, I'm going to tell you what it's not first, because most people think that it's all these crazy things. It's not witchcraft. It is not a belief system. It is not religious. It is not anti-religious. It is a practice that was created over 5,000 years ago, and it originated in China. And it was a practice that originated because the Chinese emperors had these people who basically their entire job was to kind of look at the land and see, well, how does the land interact with the trees, the flowers, whatever the landscape was, and the whole purpose of that was so that the emperors knew where to build a temple, their palace, where they were going to be buried. They wanted the most auspicious spot. So they had these people who roamed the land and would give them. So that is the very true origins of Feng Shui. Obviously, over time, it has changed because back then there were no indoor toilets. Now we have to deal with indoor toilets. There was no clutter. People didn't have clutter. People have clutter now. So, it's kind of changed and progressed with the times as it goes. But basically, Feng means wind, Shui means water. So wind and water. So think of a house on a mountain. If you put your house at the very, very top of the mountain, something that you can't see, like the wind, if it's very strong, can blow your house down, right? If you put your house at the very bottom of the mountain where there's a river going through it, something that you can see, water, can also take your house away in a terrible storm. So where's the best place? The best place is somewhere in the middle, right? You want the mountain to protect you from the winds, and you want to be above from the water level enough that the water can't take your home away. So the entire point of Feng Shui is to kind of find that energetic spot in your home and work with creating a very balanced environment. What that is balance, right? You're not at the top, you're not at the bottom, you're right in the middle. So it's a perfect balance. So that's what we're always trying to create, is balance and harmony in your space. And it also aligns with Feng also means energy, because wind is energy. You think of windmills, they're providing energy. And Shui also can turn into like prosperity, because you think of money flowing in. So I'm not sure what type of Feng Shui your dad's practitioner was, but there are three main schools. So there's the very traditional Chinese Feng Shui. That is not what I practice, because people in the Western world will not put their swimming pools in the front of the house. And that is, traditional Chinese Feng Shui really stays true to its roots. And homes, at least in the Western world, do not adapt to that. So there's that. Then there's another school called the Compass School, which focuses more on the land around your home and what position your house should sit in. And then there is Western or BTB Feng Shui, which is what I practice, which focuses more on the inside of your home, like from when you open the door in, and what you can do within your own surroundings, something that you have control over, and how you can uplift the energy of your entire space by working on everything. I'll pull out something really quick from my deck just because it'll help visually. I didn't think about pulling out the big one, but it'll work. So what we work with is this. It's a Bagua map. And so what this does is it divides your home into 9 different energy centers, which are the 9 most important areas of your life. So if you think about it, your career, skills and knowledge. You need knowledge in order to make money, right? So you need skills and knowledge. Your family, your wealth area, your fame and reputation area, and that's up here. So I'm going kind of in a circle. And this doesn't necessarily mean being famous. It means how you are seen by others. whether it's in business or in personal relationships, how does the outside world view you? Love and relationships, children and creativity, helpful people and travel. And then in the center of everything is your health. Because once again, if you don't have your health, it doesn't matter. All this can be beautiful, but if you're sick and in bed and you can't move, what does it matter? Right? So we focus on taking homes and dividing them energetically up into all these spaces. I'm actually doing a remote consultation with a woman in Pennsylvania, and she just sent me the blueprint of her house, and it's all over the place. It doesn't look like a square. So what I would tell your listeners is, if your house doesn't look like this, and not many do come in a complete little square, then you can use this in each and every room. You can stand at the entry door, like if the door to, when you stand at the door to your kitchen, you line up the center part, which is the career. And if you put my link to my website on your show notes, they can download a free Boggle map for themselves there, so they can have one to work off of. So if you line up with the career, then you just take the whole room from there. You can do this with your desk. So many of us are working from home now. So my desk is feng shuied, so I have an orchid in my wealth corner to bring in, prosperity and stuff. And I picked a purple orchid because you can work with the colors in feng shui. You can work with the elements, and each bagua has a different element, and you can work with the shapes. So you don't want your house to be painted like this. I don't want to create a circus, but you can have something from each gua in your space as a token, as a representative. I'll just pull something from here to give you an example. So I have a picture of, in my family gua, which is right here, a picture of my family in a wooden frame, because the element for this is wood. Like I said, I have a beautiful purple orchid in the wealth corner right behind it. And that doesn't mean make your desk a mess and clutter. We don't want clutter. But you can have just a small little thing to say, I want to bring something in. And I think the best place to start, because everybody always asks me where that is the front door. Because the front door is where energy comes into your entire home. So you can do all this work on the inside, but if your door and your outside looks terrible, that energy is not going to come in. So think of your front door like your mouth. We put all the energy that our body takes in through our mouth. Food, drink, whatever it is, it goes through our mouth. Maybe a little bit absorbed by the sunlight, but you know what I mean. The majority of the energy we take in comes in through your mouth. So your home, the front door, not back door, is the mouth of chi. So you want to do everything. And this is really easy for people anywhere to do. You always want a fresh doormat, so that you don't want one that's old and torn. You don't want one with your name or initial on it, because then people are energetically stepping on your name every time they walk in and out of your house. You want fresh flowers if it's possible, to attract vibrant, real energy. You want it really clean all the time. You want to make sure that your lights are working. You want to make sure that nothing's broken. I have a lot of people that come to me for the three main things people come to me for: careers, love, and money. Those are like the three big things. And health. I do get a lot of health too. But if they're coming to me for the career and they say, I'm stuck, the first thing I do is I say, can we walk outside your house and let me try and open the front door to come in? And if the door sticks or is stuck, or the hardware is broken or dirty, or, it's blocked because you've got a whole bunch of stuff behind your front door, so you can't open the door completely, that equals being stuck in your career, because that's your career area. Does that make sense? Like, to see how they connect? You know what I mean?
So it's kind of metaphorical in a way, or symbolic. Like, for example, when you talk about your desk and how these areas, you can symbolically choose, okay, this flower, for example, I would like to bring here so that this brings out more energy like this. Or, okay, family. So maybe for me, family will mean a specific thing. So then I will put it there so that it brings out even more energy. But yeah, it makes sense, because like, obviously how we, like, everything is interconnected. So how we feel inside, it's interconnected with how we place things on the outside, or whether we are clean in our mind is like if we have a clean space as well, right? So it makes sense so far, but but I would like to hear more, because I'm all about it.
Well, our environment affects us. There's no way around it. There's scientific studies that have been done for years. What you surround yourself with affects you. And if you take it from the inside out, whatever's closest to you will have the most impact on you. So what is closest to you? You, the food you put into your body, whatever nourishment you put in, the products you use on your skin. Sometimes people ask me like, why are you writing about non-toxic products and beauty products? And I'm like, because that all affects you. That affects your energy. If you're putting on toxic products on your skin, that's affecting your body's energy, and that's causing hormone disruptions and everything else. So next to the products, the clothes that you're wearing. Next to that, to me, another very, very important room in your house, your bedroom, what you sleep on. You sleep a third of your life. You spend a third of your life in your bedroom sleeping, hopefully for most people. What you sleep on matters greatly. To give you a quick example, I had a client, they were an older couple and they were lovely, and they called me. And so when I sat down to talk to them, I said, what can I help you with? And she said, my husband is on an oxygen tank. He cannot breathe. He always says he's drowning at night. I no longer sleep in the room with him because he keeps me up all night because he's up and down because he feels like he's drowning, and the oxygen makes noise. And so I said, may I go see your room? So we walked into his bedroom, and it was pretty clean and tidy. I mean, they were mid 80s, so it is what it is. It's older people, but they were so sweet. Above his bed was this beautiful painting of Venice. They'd visited Venice. They loved Venice. And it was all about the water and the canals. And I just looked at him and I said, so let's think about this. Where can human beings not breathe? And where do human beings need oxygen to breathe? Or otherwise they would feel like they're drowning. Underwater. What are you sleeping under? Underwater. And sometimes it's that specific. And so I asked if I could move the painting. At first they were hesitant because they're like, it's very expensive. I'm like, I'm not saying to throw it away, but let's take it out from on top of your bed. I'll check in a couple of weeks because I had another client near where they were. And I said, I'll just come back. Let's just see how you are. And if nothing's changed and you want it back, we'll put it back. Let's see, because what Feng Shui is not transactional. If I do A, then I get B. Feng Shui is intentional. I'm doing this to enhance my entire life, the people who live in my house. And then usually the universe will make that happen, but because I put the orchid there doesn't mean that I get $1 million tomorrow. It's not transactional. It's not A equals B. So we removed the painting. I came back 2 weeks later. He was outside playing with his granddaughter, which I guess he hadn't been able to do in a long time. And so I sat and talked to them. They're like, oh, he got his life back. He doesn't need the oxygen anymore. He's sleeping really well. I moved back into the bedroom with him. I'm like, wow.
Seriously?
All from removing. Yes. And they're not all that dramatic, but I love that one so much because it happens a lot. People come and tell me, especially with sleep. Sleep is a huge problem for everybody these days, it seems. If people tell me I'm wired, I can't fall asleep, I'm wired. Can we go look at your bedroom? Oh, well, there's 5 different plugs plugged into your bed. Your phone charger, your Apple Watch charger, your AirPods charger, your iPad charger, all right here next to where you're sleeping on your nightstand, plus your lights, plus the TV, plus let's look at your mattress. Oh, you have one of those really fun electronic ones that go up and down. Of course you're wired. You're surrounded by electricity. You're bathing yourself in electricity every night. So my suggestion there is take out as much as you can. We're down to just our two lamps on either side of our bed. That's it. I switched to a latex mattress when it was time to switch mattresses. Again, you don't have to do all these things at once, but when it's time to buy the next one, whether it's skincare, mattresses, furniture, buy one with more intention and buy one that'll benefit you, So, and we sleep much better because of that. I still have a TV in my room. I can't get rid of that. I'm one of those people, Feng Shui people will say, oh, no TV. I'm like, yes, I need a TV. I'm having one. But I've tried to eliminate everything else. No house is perfect. My house is not perfectly Feng Shuied. I've done the best that I can with the house that I have, and that's all you can do. But if people tell me what else is a good one, if they're stuck in the past, like if people just keep revisiting their past over and over and over and reliving it, I notice a lot of people have mirrors, a mirror over their headboard, a mirror on their nightstands. A lot of that furniture that came out that looks like mirrored furniture, that keeps you looking backwards instead of moving forwards. If you have a whole bunch of stuff packed underneath your bed, energy can't flow in a circle around you. It's stuck. So you probably won't sleep as well. So those are some good things that you can go home and look at and see where can I make some small improvements? It doesn't cost anything to clean out under your bed. It doesn't cost anything to move a painting. Another one, a big one. I feel like the weight of the world is on me. I just feel like so heavy when I go to bed. Let's go look at your room. Oh, there's a painting of the world above your bed. It's like, yes, you feel like the weight of the entire world is on you, or a beautiful, I live in Florida. So the beautiful beach scenes with the palm trees and the sand, well, you're sleeping under the ground. Of course you feel like there's weight on top of you. So,
Wow.
Those are all things that you can go back and look at. And again, I will make sure to stress this. If it's not a problem for you, it's not a problem. Somebody else could be sleeping with the water scene above them and sleep perfectly all night and tell me that it's the best sleep they've ever had. Okay, leave it there. I'm suggesting these tips if there is an issue. If this resonates with you, if this sounds like, oh, I'm wired all night, well, go take a look at that. Oh, I feel tired every morning. Go take a look and see what, and then just remove it and try and leave an empty space and see if you feel better,
Yeah,
So
wow, that's awesome. Thank you so
it's
much for
pretty
sharing all
interesting.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
super
pretty interesting.
interesting. Like I'm
Yeah,
already, imagining my room and kind of like checking in my mind what is that because I'm in
everybody
the
does.
mountains in a like random apartment. It's not my place, but I'm just imagining my room. Okay, I have a wardrobe with a mirror. Okay, do I revisit the past? Well, sometimes, but I also feel like what you said is about the personality as well because, for example, I'm more of a person who focuses now and in the future rather than past, just generally speaking. And so I feel like it probably would enhance more of these qualities of people who like to focus on the past because
Right.
personality wise, there are personalities that more focus on the past, present, or future, right? And at least in terms of the personality typology that I like the most, which is Enneagram, it's a specific typology. There is like 3 personalities out of 9 focus on the past, 3 focus on the present, and 3 focus on the future. So I feel like if someone focuses on the past and then they have mirrors, then it enhances this focus even more.
Absolutely.
And maybe for me, it wouldn't be that big of an issue because it's not
Right.
like a default trait or default focus that I have. So it makes
Right.
sense that for some people it will, let's say, make a I don't know, a problem for them. And for some, not really, because just the
Right.
default is not focused there. Same with like sleeping under the water. I feel like I would feel great sleeping under the water personally because I love the
And maybe
water.
you
Maybe I
would.
would, but yeah, it makes
Right.
so much sense what you talk about it. But so, for example, if I have a bed where I store some things beneath, like if it's not just bed sheets, if it's like storage beneath the bed, it's not really good for people, right?
No,
Because you have like cluttered.
unfortunately, no. Well, what it is it doesn't allow the energy to flow, or an energy flows in a circular motion when you're in your bed. So you want that energy to flow around you so that you can wake up more refreshed. So when you're blocking that by stuffing everything under your bed, you're blocking that flow of energy. So it's
Mhm.
not ideal. It's not
Mhm.
ideal,
Mhm.
you know?
That's really, really interesting. Oh my God.
Yep.
And of course, it matters also what kind of colors we surround ourselves with, right? Because it's bringing out the energies. Like, for example, there is a massive difference if you have a gray room versus a yellow room and how you feel in it, right? Does Feng Shui also talk about colors and how to use
A
them in
lot.
this way?
As you saw in the Bagua map, there's 9 different colors, one for each gua. However, I like to tell people, like, my husband would not be okay if I painted our bedroom pink just because it's the love and relationships corner. So I focus less on the color for the entire room and more on the color as an accent. Put in a
Mm-hmm.
piece of rose quartz, put in some pink flowers, make it small. And the other thing, we can stick to bedrooms because I think that's a good one. And we can just keep giving you more and more tips on bedrooms. If you want a partner or if you have a partner, you want balance in a bedroom as well. You want matching nightstands and matching lamps so that each partner feels equal in the relationship. So that's another really great tip. And I always have fresh pink red roses on my side of the bed. Like that's just every week I go buy flowers. You can buy very inexpensive flowers now at the grocery store, at least here. I don't know what it is for you there, but you can buy and bringing in fresh flowers is a huge way to uplift the energy in your entire home. And if you can only afford a couple of little flowers, it doesn't matter. It's the intention. And if you can do just one bouquet, do it in your kitchen, in the center of your home where everyone can benefit. But another good tip for the bedroom is you don't want photos of other people in there, only you and your partner. And you don't want, if you are single, or divorced or whatever the case may be, and you want to bring in a partner, you also don't want pictures of like a single subject matter. Like you want things in pairs to, again, encourage the couple feeling. So those are all good tips. And the reason you don't want, this is a fun one. The reason you don't want pictures of everybody else in your bedroom, I had pictures. And when Karen came to my house, she goes, "Oh, so you like when your in-laws are watching you and your husband be intimate?" I'm like, "What? Of course not." She goes, "Well, they're all watching you." I'm like, never looked at it the same way again. I'm like, oh my God, I never even thought of that. Like energetically, all these eyes are on us. Now, some people may love that. Okay. If it's not a problem for you, it's not a problem for you. But energetically, it's best to take the photos of other people besides you and or your partner out of your intimate space. Your kids too, especially your kids. You don't want kids, parents, families.
That's funny.
Just saying.
Makes sense.
It's funny. It
makes
does,
sense. Makes total sense.
It does.
So if I'm single now, then I should have something coupled where I sleep, right?
If you want to encourage a couple. If you don't, it doesn't matter. Again, but if you're looking for a partner eventually, then yes, I would suggest, putting in matching nightstands and matching lamps and things in pairs, things in twos to call in that partnership. Yes,
beautiful.
I would do that. The other one I wanted to mention too was mirrors. Back to mirrors for just a second. Mirrors are beautiful. Mirrors for highly sensitive people, myself included, can be portals. And again, this is just if it's an issue for you. I didn't realize I had a mirror facing our bed when Karen came to my house that first time, and then another one on this side of me. So I had two mirrors like this basically in our bedroom. And constantly I had people who had passed show up in my room at night, which was of course disturbing for me. And it was at the very beginning of my journey. So I didn't understand what was happening and why I was being scared, and all of this. Now I have another client who has a huge mirror facing her bed. And when I walked in, I made that suggestion. She goes, "Oh no, my husband and I love watching each other in the mirror." I'm like, okay then. And it's all good for you. If it's not a problem for you, let it be. But for me, removing the mirrors helped me sleep much better. So my suggestion would be, if you have listeners who feel like there's a lot of energy in their room at night, or the dog gets up and barks at nothing, or, if you just feel like, ooh, maybe there's something else happening here, try and cover the mirror. If you can't move it out, try and cover it first. See if you sleep any better. If you sleep better, if you notice a really big change, then perhaps consider moving it out, and just see if that helps, because mirrors are a beautiful thing. You can do so many things with them in Feng Shui, but they can also stir up energy as well, especially with what's reflected in them. So always make sure something beautiful is reflected in your mirrors too. Because they amplify. So if I'm reflecting something that's cluttered, a cluttered corner, that's going to double the clutter because it's amplifying it. So you want to be careful how you place them.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all that. I have one last little question to you. Actually, two. Because one thing that comes to my mind is like, okay, so I travel a lot. I move from place to place all the time. So in this case, like, do you feel like every place that I'm in affects me, obviously? And if yes, then what can I do as a traveler to actually make every little space that I'm in more adjusted to my energy and to my own feng shui, so that it's just better for me?
Right. So how long are you in each place? Are we talking months? Are we talking a week or two? How long do you?
It very much depends.
All
it could
different?
be like 2 days. Now it's like 3 days. Tomorrow it's going to be a week. Then it's going to be like a month. Like it varies all the time.
So then I would focus on you. I would not focus so much on the place, because the place is going to change over and over. What I do when I travel, is I take spray. I actually have some here. I keep some here. Like I take smudge spray, and I smudge like the whole bed, anywhere that you're going to be sleeping. Like I would just kind of cleanse your entire space. I would spray yourself. If you have enough time, you could do a salt burn, just to clear the space. But if you can't, just having the spray, because you can't always light a fire and do a smudge stick everywhere. Some places don't allow it. You could set off the smoke alarm. I love Palo Santo and I love burning that, but you can't always do that. So when I cannot change my surroundings, I just amplify my own energy. I fill my bra with crystals. I always have crystals in my bra. I take my smudge spray. Yes, I'm actually creating a little fun something that's going to come out later on this year with bras and crystals. I would just work on amplifying your own energy. So, and maybe wear like obsidian, you know, where they have the bead bracelets with all the different, wear black tourmaline or wear obsidian. So you're protected wherever you're going. You know, carry a little piece of clear quartz with you, carry selenite with you, any of those things, I think, and you can set them down with the intention, you know, if you carry a piece that you can just move around with you and set the intention that, you know, I'm putting this here, so any negative energy gets absorbed into this and not to me, then that's what you can do. But it has to be very mobile for you since you're constantly moving. So you're concentrating on keeping yourself built up and not letting the place drain you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's
Sure.
been really useful. And one last little question I have to you. What is the best way to find you, to buy your book, to buy your deck maybe, or if some people would like to maybe contact you and just see you in person somehow or whatever, what is the best way?
So Instagram, I am at Alejandra G. Brady Lifestyled. And I always check all my own DMs and do all that. So if people reach out to me, they can always reach me through there. My book is on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, pretty much all the different platforms. So you can always get it there. My website, I do work remotely. So if somebody wants to work with me, you know, working off of their blueprint or walking me through the house, AlejandraBrady.com. And actually, you can also get the book from there and the card deck from there. The card deck's also on Etsy. So if you just Google Alejandra G. Brady Lifestyle or AlejandraBrady.com or Instagram, Alejandra G. Brady Lifestyle, that should kind of get you to all the other stuff that's happening.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this conversation. I really enjoyed it. And honestly, I feel like I would love to spend at least 3 hours more talking to you and asking you questions. It would be so much fun. But for today, it's going to be enough. Maybe we can talk again one day. I would really love that because there is still kitchen, bathroom, and corridors and everything to talk about. So maybe we will have a chance another time. But for now, thank you so much for this conversation because seriously, it's been just a pure pleasure to talk to you. And you're so vibrant and so beautiful that I'm really, really grateful that you agreed to be with us. So thank you.
Oh, you as well, Karolina. It's been lovely to spend time with you. Thank you. And safe travels wherever you're going next.
Thank you.